Hi everyone, well we're just after day one here at the Institute of Directors Northern Ireland Conference, and as you can see here I'm live in studio, and what a day it has been, and we're only in day one out of 2 days. Let me share first of all 5 quotes with you that we heard from our speakers today. Learn to Love Your Shadow by Paula Hilman, Lead and Leave Loudly by Vicky Davies, Legacy Learning and Leadership by Mairead Mackle, I Have the Pen to Write the Story of My Life by Kalida Popal, and the more senior you get, the more support there is along the way. So don't worry about life-work balance by Damien Gabiel. Those were, of course, the 5 women that I had the absolute privilege to interview, and I'm going to share lots and lots and lots with you now around what they shared with us throughout the day. But before I do that, I just want to pick up on the point that it's my 8th year to host this conference, and it is always a joy. But I don't just host it, I genuinely learn from the people that I interview. So last year, I started off the conference by interviewing 3 people here locally in Northern Ireland. And I just wanted to point out 3 things that I learned from them that I've implemented since. The first one is from now Dame Brenda King, the Attorney General here in Northern Ireland. And she said what she does is that she gets absolute clarity on the problem before becoming part of the giant hairball of the solution. And I've really worked at that to make sure that I truly get the problem first before jumping into solution mode. The second one from Dr. Denise Broderick. She speaks about the importance of running towards the fire and just headlong going towards whatever might be a challenge or whatever uncertainty might be there, or if there's tension or whatever, running straight into it, because that's the best way to handle it, and bring others with you, because that's really decisive leadership and can make a big difference. And also then Dr. Jane Brady, who is now head of the public service here in civil service here in Northern Ireland, and she is just a brilliant woman as well, who spoke last year all about taking opportunities as they're presented and just going for them, and she is a woman that absolutely practices what she preaches. So they were 3 that I started off talking about this morning, and I'm going to be thinking a lot about what I'm about to tell you about now, because on Friday we have the second part of our conference, and I'm going to reflect a lot on the lessons that I'm about to share with you that our various people shared with us today, because I really want to do the same, take away what I've heard today and turn it into action. So I'm going to start off here with Damien Gabiel. She was the first ever female CEO of Lloyd's. So she spoke about things like how we can self-impose a glass ceiling by putting others first instead of prioritising ourselves in line with other people. She said, don't give yourself the excuse of why you can't do it. She said that no matter how many missiles, as she called them, can be sent towards you as CEO in an organisation, that there is nothing like the satisfaction of collective success. She said, I asked her as well around cultural change and what she was doing about that at the time and how she went about it. And she said at the beginning she didn't know what to do, but she started to talk about it. And the more she talked about it, the more energy got behind it. Then she says people wanted to let the change happen, and that really opened the door, the fertile ground ultimately for results to happen. She said the more senior you get, the further away you get from what's going on the ground, and it's always important to listen to people and to particularly engage in reverse mentoring. And she says, talk to everybody. I asked her about this in the context of how do you know when you're getting a diverse enough set of diverse views? And she says, talk to everybody and keep trying. You may not always get as diverse as you should or as you need to get, but always keep trying and keep your mind open. And she also spoke about the power of networks. And when I said, what was that power? What exactly is the power of networks? And she wasn't talking about this in the context of networking for business per se, but she was saying what she got in her networks was encouragement, advice, and also people to rally around her at times of massive uncertainty when she needed to be ever more resilient. Then I had a great panel of Mairead Mackle from Tarasis, Paula Hilman from Garda Síochána, and Vicky Davies, CEO of Danske Bank. And they were all talking about leadership from their own point of view on a very practical level. So, for example, Mairead started off by saying that ultimately what leadership is that it's a mixture of purpose, culture, structure, innovation and values. And she said that it's very important to celebrate, to have that culture of celebration with your people and with your team. She said that, then Vicky Davies said that it's important to shape your strategy both from a top-down and bottom-up level. And then Paula Hilman went on to say a learning organisation needs to have space to fail, not for failure in itself, but for the learning that can come along the line. Vicky Davies then also said that it's important to have an exciting vision, that's what everybody wants fundamentally when they go to work. Mairead said home is the most important department of all. Freedom and flexibility is born out of trust, and that she says she encourages other people in her organisation to see how important their home lives are and to support that so that they can themselves respectively then be happier employees in the jobs that they do. They all of them spoke about spending time to get to know I'm going to use the word stakeholders because they all have very different customers, if you will. So some of them have staff, some of them they all have staff for a start, but some have customers, some have partners, and of course naturally in Paula's area some have communities as well. Interestingly as well, I put it to Mairead Mackle. I said, sometimes things have to break in order to be rebuilt. And then she said, I don't like the word breaking point. I prefer to call it defining moment. And I think that just actually changed the whole perspective on any moments that we faced where they have been breaking points. I know I've had a few anyway, but she says they actually can be, really defining moments as you build a new chapter in your business or your career, etc. Paula then went on to say that diversity is very important so that people can connect with others like them, and that really creates a sense of buy-in when people can see others around them. So she spoke about a plethora of diverse backgrounds that are very important to have in a national organisation like the Guards, but she said it's really important that people just have that sense of connection with other people that they're working with. Then we had a chat about experience, and the reason we did this is that I have a job to do as host of a conference like this, to talk about what's really important and to talk about what's in the hearts of minds of people that maybe they don't articulate even to themselves. And one of those things is the worry that age brings with it challenges, like have I got a fresh perspective anymore, etc. So I put it to them and I said, what's your take on this? So Vicky in particular said that experience gives you empathy, judgement, and the ability to help others to get the best out of their environment. And Paula spoke about being easier on yourself and not to worry about maybe societal guilt that you should be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that, and that instead stick to your own sense of values and mission and use that to apply to your leadership. And then Mairead said, well, if you don't try, you fail by default anyway. And that can be a very hard-hitting phrase to hear. If you don't try, then you fail by default, because if you don't try, then you can't blame anything or anybody that got in your way. It's really just down to you. Then also Paula went on then to say, know your red lines when it comes to life-work balance, as Damien Gabiel would say. As she said, know your red lines, know what's important to you, and then after that, just go for it. And then Mairead also mentioned, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Now, finally, then we had Khalida Popal, and what a phenomenal woman she is. She's the previous captain of the soccer team in Afghanistan. She needed to flee then from the country in 2011 for her life and sought asylum. So she's now in Denmark. And this woman's CV is just incredible. She's now the founder and director of the Girl Power organisation, commercial and women's football coordinator at FC Nordsjælland, a brand ambassador for Hummel, an ambassador of the European Week of Sport in Denmark, and a FIFA legend. So Khalida spoke a lot around the challenges that women face that are different in Afghanistan. And she said, and really went to great detail to point out, that we have got the pen to write our own story. And she says freedom to her is the freedom to write your own journey. She said that it's very important that we have a positive mindset and to overcome challenges, and that also to remember is that if life was just monotonous and boring, it wouldn't have any beauty. So often the challenges that are put in our way is to make life more beautiful. Honestly, this woman's attitude is just phenomenal. She said it's so important to support others, and she also said that it's very important, particularly for women, to have a sense of sisterhood. Share the light, she said, so that everybody shines. Also, she questioned why equality was taking so much time. She said it's not like a mathematical formula or a chemical compound. She said we're not waiting for an expert to come in and fix the problem. People are there, the ambition is there, pathway is there. Then she also said it's important to have a team to be successful. After all, she says we're beautiful together. And she said when things become too commercial, then people lose their soul. She was talking about that in the context of sport, but I think there's a lesson in there right across the board. And then also she spoke about media being a tool to convey one's message, and that's the way it needs to be seen. What I absolutely hope that everybody who's watching this, can you please take the time to join us on Friday? We have Anne Sheehan from Microsoft, we have Dr. Kiva Rooney, we have Bernadette Collins, and we also have Dr. Jane Goodall on Friday. Phenomenal lineup. I am so excited. And I've just asked the team there if they can open up the link so that anybody who'd like to join us on Friday, you can see how to register. It was a phenomenal day, and so looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.